Hello everyone and welcome to another screencast for world history. Today's topic is ancient civilizations' lasting legacies. Now, the civilizations we'll be talking about in this screencast are Sumer, Babylon, Phoenicia, and Persia, all in the region of Mesopotamia, Egypt in the Nile River Valley, the Shang Dynasty, which is in the Yellow River Valley in China, and Harappa in the Indus River Valley, which is modern-day Pakistan and India. So that's just a little background of the civilizations we'll be talking about today in the screencast. First, though, if we're going to talk about ancient civilizations' lasting legacies, it's very important we know what a legacy is. So what does the word legacy mean? Legacy is anything handed down from the past, from an ancestor or predecessor. Usually something of importance which justifies why it was passed down. So again, a legacy is anything handed down from the past from an ancestor or predecessor. An ancestor is someone related to you from the past. A predecessor is anyone who lived before you, but is not necessarily related to you. And legacies are usually something of importance. That's the reason why they're being passed down. Now, so let's take a look at some of the lasting legacies of ancient civilizations. So the first legacy of ancient civilizations we'll look at are ziggurats. Now you'll notice on each legacy we cover there's going to be text and some helpful pictures for you to look at as well. So for ziggurats we'll read through the text and I'll kind of explain the importance of these buildings as I go. So ziggurats were step pyramids made of sun-dried bricks in Sumerian civilization. And Sumer was a civilization in the region of Mesopotamia. Ziggurats served as temples to the gods. So Sumerians believed in many gods, and the ziggurats functioned as temples to pray to these gods and serve the gods. Many were built between 4000 and 3000 BCE. The steps of ziggurats were often wide enough to form terraces, or in other words, platforms, with planted gardens on them. And you can see in this picture here, some trees here. You can see they're wide enough for these gardens to be planted. Now, the way that these functioned in society, city dwellers, or people that lived in the towns where ziggurats were built, were told by the priests of that city that gods resided, or the spirits of the gods lived or resided in the temples on the very top. Only priests were allowed to go inside of ziggurats, and in this way they could communicate with the gods and deliver orders from the gods. But in this way also, priests were able to control maybe what city dwellers knew or thought about religion. So a priest may go in and say, I spoke with the gods last night, and they demanded that we bake more bread next week in order to feed the poor. If we don't meet this demand, the gods will be unhappy with us. So in this way, the priest could kind of control behavior in cities by being the only people allowed to go in to the temples at the top. So ziggurats performed a religious function, but also a function in society to help or maybe even sometimes hurt if perhaps the priest who went into the top was demanding money for himself or something along those lines. But ziggurats performed a religious function in society. Okay, our next lasting legacy here is hieroglyphics. Now hieroglyphics was the system of writing developed in ancient Egypt, which is in the Nile River Valley. With hieroglyphics, pictures or pictorial symbols are used to represent objects, ideas, and sounds. These symbols could be combined in many ways to express ideas. And in a second, we'll look at the pictures to kind of illustrate that. Hieroglyphics was the prevailing system of writing in ancient Egypt. It developed around 3000 BCE. Many early laws, property records, plans for architecture for buildings such as the pyramids, and details of religious rituals were written using hieroglyphics in ancient Egypt. So very quickly, here I have an image of real hieroglyphics, but to illustrate how they worked, I have these pictures here. Now these images are just straight from Google Images, so they're not real hieroglyphics, but it's just meant to serve an illustration here. Say you have this image, which means sun in our language. So this image equals sun. Then this image or picture here equals day in our language. So in hieroglyphics, you could have either sun or day, or if you had the word Sunday in your language, you could combine them together to give you Sunday. So in this way, hieroglyphics could be combined to make different, more complicated or complex words using basic words. They could be combined and put together. The idea behind it, though, is that a picture represents an idea or word. All right, we'll cover more legacies in video 2.